Mr. Robot, created by Sam Esmail, is an American drama thriller television series that ran from June 24th, 2015 to December 22nd, 2019. The show follows Elliot, played by Rami Malek, who's a cybersecurity engineer and hacker who also has social anxiety disorder and clinical depression. He's recruited by a so-called anarchist known as Mr. Robot, played by Christian Slater. The show tackles many themes such as mental health, society, capitalism, hacker culture, and cyber safety. One of the reasons why I love Mr. Robot and where it's gotten most of its critical acclaim is for its story, acting, and cinematography, and its musical score composed by Quayle. For this project, I wanted to focus on Season 1 and how Todd Campbell, the cinematographer, uses negative space and visual tension to enhance the visual representation of the show. All of these shots are from Mr. Robot are from Season 1 and are out of context, but there should still be a spoiler warning. Please go watch the show though, it's great. So let's get started. First, I wanted to talk about framing. In cinematography, framing is the presentation of visual elements in an image, especially the placement of the subject in relation to other objects. Framing can make an image more aesthetically pleasing and keep the viewer's focus on the framed objects. Most dramas are shot in a widely used type of way called the rule of thirds. It is used to capture the subject of a photo in a way that's pleasing to look at. This involves breaking any image you want to photograph into thirds, horizontally and vertically, so that you have 9 equal parts. Mr. Robot is shot very uniquely when it comes to TV dramas. Now, Mr. Robot is a show about society, and Elliot's emotions are not the main focus of the series. So if conventional framing's purpose is to enhance a single character's emotions, then there's really no point of using conventional framing. An example of this is Tyrell Wellick's, played by Martin Welsham's, head being the only part of him in the shot, or having it only a sliver of Elliot on the right side. It's basically 90% of the show, and it's used to amplify the rest of the shot and the place around them. It's proven by even the first shot of the entire series, which is mainly used to sum up the entire idea of the show, and it's just a shot in New York City, and it's clear for a show as smart as Mr. Robot that this was intentional. Alright, let's get back to the bulk of the video. For the project, I wanted to take a reference from Todd Campbell's style and use it in my own photography with 3 different photos. Let's first take a look at these shots. Mr. Robot likes to do long and high shots with hallways and long corridors. A lot of these shots are used to depict Elliot's state of anxiety and loneliness, and the photo I took to try and use this technique was a long shot of my hallway. I wasn't able to get anyone in the shot, but I feel like I was able to show the emptiness and the atmosphere depicted in the original shots. I used a lot of editing techniques because I wanted to make my shot gray and darker. This next shot is a shot of Tyrell Wellick and Joanna Wellick, played by Stephanie Coliseum. In this shot, you can see that Tyrell is obviously on edge, and you can see that there is some type of visual tension between the two because of how Tyrell is blurred out and Joanna is not. I tried to do this with myself outside. I took a photo of myself and I had a plant to the side of me and only had the plant in focus. I believe it gave the same feel of tension as the original shot did. Out of all the photos I took, this is by far my favorite. I wanted to keep myself on the left side and the cactus plant on the right side. I didn't do that much technical editing. All it was just a bit of color changes and lighting changes to kind of keep it a bit more simple because it was already pretty good. So yeah. For my last shot, I decided to tackle the idea of negative space that is present throughout the show. I talked about this in one of the shots earlier in the video, but the shot with Tyrell's head being the only part of him in the shot, or a sliver of Elliot only being on the right side, I wanted to somehow replicate that style of negative space being present in the image, and I am mostly taking a style mainly from the photo of Tyrell because I favor that one. This photo I tried to replicate the tension and the negative space of the shot, and that, to be honest, I didn't do that well. I didn't use a person and the subject as the subject, and there was a lot of background objects that ruined the aspect of negative space. If I were to redo this shot, which I plan to do, I would completely change it. I would have a different location that has a better feel of nothing. and I would either use a person as my object or something different than a statue in my backyard, and this was my least favorite of the 3 photos, but I still learned a lot from this experience. I love Mr. Robot. I've been trying to get any project I do this year to be somehow about it because of my big love for this show. The story, the message it gives, the visual representation, everything else, it's so good. The cinematography is so visually appealing, it makes you to want to keep watching after every single episode. I really love this project because I was able to dissect one of my favorite TV shows and apply it to what I'm learning and want to study in college. Thanks for watching, and please go watch this show.